Hello, hello. Welcome, Facebook, to my weekly chai tea chats with Natalie Brett. Also, welcome YouTube.
Hello, hello. Welcome, Facebook.
In a minute, we will welcome Instagram. So if you're joining me live, please drop a comment and let me know. I want to talk about things that are going on with me in the moment so I could kind of share some of my insight, share some tips on kind of like how to manage your energy when things go wrong. I'm also going to bring Instagram on live, so give me a minute as I get that going. All right, Instagram's coming now. So hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're having an amazing Thursday. I am actually a little bit later than normal. Hi, Instagram. I'm going to do a quick live video on, what to do when things go wrong, or just kind of give you some tips that I use to manage my energy when my schedule goes off track. So I'm actually streaming on Instagram. I've got Facebook, and then this will also be on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching me live, feel free to drop a note below. If you're watching the replay, let me know as well. Also, let me know where you're from. I'm always curious to get a sense for, how far these videos go out. I know I have followers in other countries as well as other states. Here in North Carolina, we had a crazy storm this morning in the mountains of North Carolina. I think it started at 5 or 6 a.m. Lost power early in the morning, right before an important meeting, which is actually what kind of stirred up this conversation. Why I wanted to talk about this is because my schedule went completely off track today, and I was a little frustrated about it, and I wanted to share with everyone kind of like what I do to kind of manage my energy and get back on track. So hi, Bree, welcome. I'm just talking about my schedule today, kind of an impromptu chat, how it went completely off the rails, completely distracted, and just like some things I did to move away from frustration and back on track. All right, so let's jump in. So I called this managing your energy when I think things go wrong, I think is essentially what I titled this. And so, yeah, my day started off with a thunderstorm at 5 a.m. And then later in the day, as I was starting my meetings, the power went off right before a very important meeting. And so that's when I was like, all right, universe, I got my keys. I jumped in my car to try to get internet or a cell signal, because I don't have cell service. If the internet goes out or the power goes out, that's why it's a big thing. So I actually tried to travel to find cell service, and then I got stopped by like a tree being blocked, like the road being blocked by a tree. So I was like, all right, cool. So I couldn't get to like a higher area where I could get a cell service. So anyway, I turned back around and I came home. And it's funny because being who I am, when the power first went out 10 minutes before an important meeting, I actually heard it's going to come back on, leave it alone. But I went into frustration mode because I was like, darn it, I have this call. It needs to come back. I've got to fix this. I've got to force this. And I didn't listen to the guidance. So that is lesson number one. Lesson number two is here's how I got kind of like back in the flow. So I was frustrated when I got back, kind of like, just frustrated with the world, aggravated with the world. And so there's a few things that I did to get back in the zone. First thing I did is moving my body outside, like out in nature. There is something that kind of snaps you back from whatever frustration you're in when you're out in nature. Like you're breathing in kind of like flowing energy, unlike inside a house where it might be stagnant, or you might not have kind of like the outer, natural elements to help. Moving your body in general is another thing. Again, this is about getting the energy moving in your body so it's not stagnant, it's not staying frustrated, and just kind of getting your blood pumping, right? So I moved my body, I went outside, and I also did like breathing exercises. And this helps if you are really, really frustrated. I did all this at the same time, by the way. Multitasking is how I was doing it. I was walking, I was in nature, and I was breathing. But basically what I'll do is I'll put my hands on my heart and just kind of do some deep breaths where I breathe in for say 5 seconds, hold for 5 if you can, and then let it go for 5. And then I'll repeat that 3 to 5 times. And it, really just stick with a number and kind of keep the number the same. If you're like, gosh, what are those instructions? Let me write it down. No, make it easy. So maybe you start with 3. So count to 3, breathe in, hold for 3, let out for 3, do that 3 times. Or pick the number 5 and, do 5 of all those. The number's not important. It's really just important that you're just kind of, again, managing your energy, like really like calming down your nerves, calming down your emotions during frustrated times. Usually those 3 things are the things that pull me away from frustration and anger. A lot of times when we are in frustration and anger over, like our schedule not going on track or not going to plan, if we allow ourselves to stay in that frustration and anger, only bad things happen. I'm not talking about grave things, like this isn't a horror story or anything like that, but no, like it really just, a lot of times it leads to more frustration and anger, right? Because that's when you're like walking around the house and then your sleeve gets caught on the doorknob because you're already frustrated and you're just like, of course. Like basically what happens is you keep getting more and more proof of the frustration that's going on in your head. You're like, the universe is, stopping me, it's blocking me, like everything keeps happening to me, today. Like the more you stay in that energy, the more everything's going to frustrate you, the more your mind is going to look for proof of your frustration. So it's just going to be like a cycle that's going to build and build and build. So that's why when I start leaning into either frustration or resistant energy, usually anger is kind of there too, right? That's a key indicator that I've pulled myself out of energetic alignment and I need to take a moment, sometimes just a few minutes, to get back on track. And again, for me, that's moving my body outside if that's possible, because again, there's so much energy flow outside that you don't have inside your house. I am actually someone, it drives my husband crazy, but it can be 90 degrees in the weather. We'll be in our car. We live in North Carolina, so very humid, right? And I want the window cracked at all times because I need airflow. Right now, I don't know how hot it is outside. It's probably 90. I got my window cracked. I know. The people are probably like, oh, your power bill. Power bill's not bad. I have to have movement from air outside at all times. I can't tell you how much of an impact that has on your like overall well-being, the flow from nature. And this is not woo. This is not like tree hugger thoughts. This is real. And there's actually science behind it. I don't have the articles, I can find them, but there is science to prove that having that flow from outside is so important. The air, like just being outside, it really helps to like break up frustration, like move the energy, those type things. So again, when I'm frustrated, what I'll do is I'll take a break from the computer, whatever's frustrating me, get outside, move my body, do some deep breaths, and then come back in. There are some days I'll add another thing that I can do from time to time. And this is more if I'm like feeling down the dumps, like maybe not frustrated, but I'm just like, feeling down in the dumps or like sad, sorrow, those type things. What helps me then is music and either singing along or dancing. Imagine Dragons is one of my favorite ones. I know Fate, I don't know if you're still on here, but what's our man's name? Steve Winwood, I think is his name. I don't know if Fate is still here, but she would know it because we're huge fans. And his music is so uplifting, it's so positive. You really have to pay attention to what music you allow in your life, because there's quite a bit of it that has heavy energy. And I say this about so many artists that I actually love. Like I love some rap and some of the heavier stuff, not the really, really heavy rap, but there are some R&B rap artists that I like. And this is not just related to R&B and rap. I mean, you can see it in country, you can see it in punk music. It's not limited to one. But there are some, quite a bit of the mainstream artists, they have some really heavy words if you ever look at the lyrics, but also the music is really heavy and it can actually bum you out without realizing it. And this is, I'm not going to give any names because I don't really want to name names of artists. Some people might be upset with who I say, but just be aware of the lyrics. Like just listen to some of the songs. One of my favorite songs from the 90s was Third Eye Blind's I think it's maybe Semi-Charmed Life. Like, gosh, I love the beat. The beat is what pulls me into music more so than words, but I listened to the words recently because I was prompted to, and the words are not what like when you just have to listen to the words. It's about drug use, essentially. It's not about anything fun. And it's kind of an eye opener for me, because if you think about it, especially as kids, how many songs did we just sing along with, like kids in the 90s and 80s? How many songs did we just sing along with, not realizing what our words of affirmations are saying, not really paying attention to it? We were just in it for the beat, right? But words are powerful, and what you say repeatedly is powerful. So this is a side comment. Pay attention to your music. You want to make sure you're listening to uplifting music at the right time. Anything else? I think that's about it. So this was just a quick live. Just wanted to kind of share some of my routines, because this was very much in the moment for me today. I was frustrated earlier, guys. I had things I was going to come on here and share. I have a new idea of things to share on Instagram stories, so stay tuned. But I was going to start sharing some new things. I had a new routine. I know Faith was on here. I was just talking to her last night about, like tuning into the energy recently, like what's coming in the next month. Did like 10 pages of journaling right before a client sessions that I had yesterday. So they got to see, I don't know if my journal's here, it was on the floor. They got to see kind of like what was coming. They got to get the first glimpse of what's coming for society, like energetically for society, like where we're going, what's coming, not necessarily just for me. So that was fun for them, I think. But anyway, yeah, I was going to start a new routine today, and I have started it. But it's just funny when I see this over and over again, when you ask or when you set like really clear intentions to truly change things, always expect, like, I've heard some people call it like a calibration. I call it a test. Always expect like a test to happen. Like when you set some big intentions, some big goals, and you're like, I'm starting to act in this energy today, whether it be as a new career or new business or new title, like there's so many different ways this could resonate. Expect to be tested, because, kind of how I see it is God, universe, creator, source, you do you folks, says, all right, this is the intention that you set. Are you ready? Like, shall we test this? Are you ready to take on, what this means? And so I set some clear intentions yesterday, and I was actually just telling a client the other day, anytime you do this, like expect to be shown, expect to be tested. And this morning, I had my schedule thrown off, the new schedule that I was starting. So another part of that was that I wanted to go live today. And usually when my schedule is thrown off, I'm like, lives can wait. I need to work on me. I'm not going to do it. And there are moments where I think that is wise and to lean into that. But the intentions that I set were around my business, were around kind of like what I'm stepping into. So it was like, no, I might do my live 2 hours late, but I'm doing my live. So you see how that shows up. And I am so proud of myself. Be proud of yourself, folks. I am so proud of myself that I showed up for this live, because doing lives are so fun to me. I love them so much. I would do them more frequently if my schedule allowed, but I do have a lot of other things going on. So I'm like, okay, like at least once a week is my new goal, and I am showing up. I showed up today. So you can feel the energy right now of excitement within myself that I actually showed up. So that, be proud of yourself when you show up for the things that you commit to on paper, like behind the scenes. I may not have shared this with you. I might have just kept it to myself and then just not did it, right? But the commitment I made was to myself, and that is one of the most important commitments that you can make in life. And continuing to like put energy into the commitment to yourself, let's take it a whole new level, folks. This will carry over to every area of your life. So showing up for yourself first, having commitment to yourself first, and like showing yourself that you're committed, showing yourself that you're going to continue to show up, that gains and builds confidence in yourself and your business that you can't get any other way. Doesn't matter how confident your coach is in you. Doesn't matter how confident like your partner or spouse is in you, or like your sisters or families or any of those. Like none of that matters as much as the confidence that you gain in yourself through showing up and following through with your commitments. And again, a lot of my commitments to myself are on my journal. So nobody else knows it except for me if I show up or not. But today's live, again, was one of those commitments and how I'm showing up in a bigger way, because I could have just said, no, my schedule got off. I spent 4 hours looking at SQL on computers. If you're in IT, you don't like, I can't even tell you how time consuming and draining that can be. I'm good energetically, but I could have let that derail me and been like, no, even though I said I was going to show up, I'm not going to show up. Like I didn't post about it online because I didn't have time because my power went out. So I could have just like not shown up, but I did. So reward yourself for when you show up. Put the commitment to yourself and like showing up for you as your number one priority, and everything else in life like will improve. I mean, that's really in a nutshell what happens, because when you show up for yourself, it trickles out. That confidence, that energetic capacity trickles out to everything else. All right. So I hope everybody has an amazing day. I do think I'm going to continue these lives at least once a week. I said this in another video. I really would like to do these daily, but with my schedule and the capacity of clients that I have, like my clients are my number one goal. Some weeks that might be doable, other weeks it might not. So I'm still trying to find my happy medium, but at least once a week is where it's going to be. Actually, I think it's going to end up being twice a week. And I'm going to start doing Tuesdays in my wellness group, by the way, and then Thursdays will be in my personal development group, Instagram, and YouTube, because I am working on my YouTube channel again. All right, hope everybody has a great day. Let me know if you dropped in to see the replay and if you're still watching, and I will talk to everybody later. Bye. Bye, Facebook.